I call to order this January 12th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting here at the Guthrie City Hall. First, I'd like to open up the floor to any public comments not relating to our current agenda items. Any public comments? That's a no. On that note, I'd like to move to approval of our previous minutes from the November 10th, 2022.
Having a roll call first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I did it, but that's okay.
It's all right.
Joe Chappell, absent. Abe Gassenpour,
Here.
Brent Linford,
Yes.
Don McBride, absent, and Aaron Rooney.
Present.
All right, you got a quorum.
There we go. On that note, let's move to approval of our previous minutes. Can I get a motion?
Because I was gonna say that at this point, we'll just approve the November. The December, we don't have enough people here, so that we'll table that to the next meeting, but we can approve the November meeting.
I'll make the approval, motion for approval, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
All right.
All right, with that,
Hold on, we gotta do the vote.
oh. See, that's why I hate running these things.
That's all right. Aaron Rooney,
Yes.
Abe Gassenpour,
Yes.
Brent Linford.
Yes.
All right, 3-0.
All right, PC application 2216, discussion and possible action on a request for a special use permit to allow for a 5-unit bed and breakfast within the R1 single-family dwelling district for a property located at 201 North 13th Street. Staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As indicated, the applicant is requesting approval of a 5-unit or 5-guest room bed and breakfast for an existing property and home. It's located at 13th and Cleveland, just south of Noble Avenue on the west side. Per our zoning code, a bed and breakfast use in an R1 is required to go through a special use permit process. Thus, that's the reason we're here tonight. The property is 7,850 square feet total. As you see, it has a large home built on it, along with a garage / kind of carriage house that's also on the west side of the property. The home entrance is off of 13th Street, but there is actually dual access for the driveways. There's an access off of 13th Street, and then there's an access off of Cleveland Avenue. The staff, in reviewing it, honestly didn't have any big concerns with that. Usually the larger homes such as this are with there being no change to the built environment, with a 5-unit bed and breakfast, staff did not feel that there would be a significant impact, or at least negative impact to the surrounding area, to the neighborhood. They have a garage on site that can accommodate parking, but also with the property itself, there's enough room, even at full capacity, to accommodate guest parking, so they won't necessarily have to park on the street or that. Being that it's limited to 5, there's not going to be significant traffic in that, and it's not necessarily going to be like a business per se, where you have cars coming and going every, or a lot throughout a day. So with that, staff did recommend approval of the special use permit, but staff is recommending some conditions just to make sure that we keep it in context of a bed and breakfast. The conditions being that the bed and breakfast shall not exceed 5 guest rooms. Meals may be provided to registered guests, but no sale of meals to the public shall be allowed. So again, they can't open their kitchen for anybody else other than guests. No cooking facilities shall not be permitted in the guest rooms. They are to have no receptions, meetings, parties. In other words, again, they can't rent it out for wedding receptions or, large parties. Again, it's going to have to stay to a bed and breakfast. And then finally, they would be allowed 1 monument sign not to exceed 32 square feet in area and 5 feet in height. So with that, I give it back to the commission There's public here, as you can see, and then also the applicant is here as well, if you have any questions of them.
Commissioners, we have any questions first of all?
We have the public wants to talk, or?
I guess I have a question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
With all these recommendations for our, requirements for approval, if they want to change any of them in the future, they'll be able to apply for another special use?
Yeah,
like if
absolutely.
they'd
They go
like
through
to.
they go through the same process. So if for some reason they were looking to, again, want to,
Like serve food or something?
yeah, serve food or have a little maybe cafe or something like that, we'd have to go through the same process to get that approved. Obviously, if there was any type of rezone on the property, that automatically would initiate that process and that. So, yeah, it would be limited to this unless it goes through the same process.
Okay, so they'll have options to make amendments if business
Yeah.
dictates.
Go ahead.
What if, say, a group of friends or even a family were to rent all the rooms and then have like a gathering?
Birthday party.
A birthday party.
Yeah, that's fine, because again, it just goes back to make sure that it doesn't become where they have 5 guest rooms, or I mean, that it becomes a large, again, situation where they're renting it out to, again, a wedding or a large wedding reception, or, you know, if they're not, you know, maybe don't have as many guests, then they say, hey, you can come and rent it out for your party or whatever. If, you know, it's in context with who's there, that's not an issue, you know, in that, because it would be no different whether they're all related or unrelated if they're full. It's just, again, to control it so it doesn't start to have more of a negative impact to the neighborhood. But it's the same thing. Those are staff's recommendations. If you don't feel those are necessary or have those on there, that's up to you guys in your recommendation.
Well, if I remember correctly, in the late 80s or early 90s, the Judge Dale's house, the Lily's house, right there on the West Cleveland, and a couple of others, they were already operating in the bed and breakfast, weren't
Yes.
they?
Yeah. Yeah, some of them were,
So
but per our
is
code.
Renee's not here, right?
No,
Is she currently operating as a bed and breakfast?
No. And per our code, there's a certain time frame in which even your legal non-conforming or any past approvals go. Per our code, it's a year. So even if you have a special use permit and that use ceases for up to a year, you have to go through the
So
process again.
the special use is just only for this current applicant,
That's
right?
correct.
So okay,
Yeah. Somebody else wants to do it in an R1, they gotta go through the same process.
all right.
Yeah.
You have any public comments or questions? No? We're good. Do I have any more questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
Is that what staff conditions?
Yes.
With the,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes, it
okay.
always is.
Yeah, I'm just making sure.
But I don't know if it would be appropriate to put a number of the guests not to exceed 20 people.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's
I mean, you
always
know, But the
tough.
thing is, I mean, the neighbors are still living in there as they brought up in here. I mean, you don't want big parties and make it really inconvenient for the neighborhood. So if you want to add on that not to limit more than 20 people, that would.
I mean, if that's your guys' recommendation, that would
I
limit
would
it to
like to amend
basically.
it to my motion then to have the number of the guests not to be more than 20 people at one time.
Right, so even with the 5 guest rooms, it would basically mean you would have 4 per room at any given, or I'm sorry, yeah, 4, I can't even do my
Well,
math.
if they
4
have a
per room.
guest or something, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like have a rollaway or something or two in the bedrooms, is that?
basically, no more than 4 guests per room is at capacity, is what that would
Well,
end up
then
being.
it does not, no, I mean, it does not apply just to the guests. I think we are concerned about the number of the people that they come to the street. So is the number of the guests there, I mean, yeah, those are the guests could be just 1 person or 2 person, but then they could invite 5, each one of them have 5, 6 people in there, and all of a sudden there's a 50, 60, 100 people in there. That's I mean, and then really make it inconvenient for the neighbors.
So you're saying like if they were having a birthday party or something there, and each person
It's-
invited a couple of friends?
It's 20 people, I mean, that's just the maximum that could be really at one time in that property. How about that? I don't know, and as far as number of the guests are concerned, yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, that doesn't apply to the employees, it doesn't apply to the owner, whoever's operating it. We're talking about guests and guest associates.
yeah, I just don't know how we check that or how that gets verified.
Well, it'd be on a complaint basis probably.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If there was some complaints, they would obviously have probably like a guest registry, or they would know who they have there, and so we would just get with them and, could verify, a lot easier than others.
Do the owners know about how many guests they, max occupancy would be?
Yeah, I think we would be under the 20,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I'm good with adding it.
Okay, if everybody's good with that, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, I'll add that as a condition then, max 20. Okay, so like I said, the 5 conditions I have plus under the 5 guest rooms, also a maximum of 20 at any time. All right, and we had a motion, and, well, that was your motion,
That was
right?
my
Okay,
motion,
and
yeah, I
and-
amended mine, yes.
And Brent, are you fine with the
Yes,
second?
I'll second
Okay,
that.
all right. All right, Abe Gassenpour,
Yes.
Brent Linford,
Yes.
and Aaron Rooney.
Yes.
All right, passes 3-0 with those conditions. And this will go to the first city council meeting in February, which is February 7th. And they will have the final decision on the special use permit.
Wonderful. Do we have any further staff comments?
No, I haven't.
Do we have any commissioner comments? With that, I call this meeting adjourned.